Doing business in Vietnam. Vietnam is a long, narrow country. It's currently the 15th largest country in the world with a population of 92.7 million. By using SWOT analysis, Vietnam has strong agricultural potential and natural resources such as oil, forest, marine, and agricultural commodities. Development strategy based on openness make Vietnam grow as an exporter. Based on Coface research, GDP growth forecast in 2017 around 6.5%. Shortcomings in the business climate. The government so far has failed to reassure Vietnamese citizens and international investors that it has a coherent approach to dealing with these mounting problems. If we compare between Vietnam and Indonesia, Indonesia's foreign direct investment is higher than Vietnam. In Vietnam, projects related to infrastructure development currently provide some of the most promising areas for exporters to Vietnam. Not only has opportunity in the economic sector, but also in tourism and international growth. The threats in Vietnam are international credit rating agencies have become more critical of Vietnam. If the government doesn't simplify and improve its project processing and implementation procedures, the planned investment may not materialize on time. Unemployment could emerge as a bigger problem. How about in Indonesia? Real economic growth in Indonesia is sustainable at 4 to 6%. With over 220 million consumers, Indonesia represents Southeast Asia's largest potential market. Indonesia has a wealth of natural resources, low labor costs, and dynamic tourism industry. Corruption, excessive bureaucracy, and inadequate physical infrastructure make Indonesia a very difficult place to do business and add significantly to operating costs. In Indonesia, investors consider natural resources, banks, infrastructure, and consumer goods industries to offer some of the biggest opportunities. Corruption, bureaucratic and inconsistent, and unclear regulations are three of the biggest threats foreign investors face in Indonesia. Rules can change on very short notice. Overall, grade of country risk assessment according to Coface in Vietnam is B and Indonesia is A4. For business climate in Vietnam is C and in Indonesia is B. Based on World Bank Ease of Doing Business ranking 2016 until 2017, Indonesia increases 15 rankings, with the points is 61.52%, and Vietnam increases 9 rankings, with the point is 63.83%. Based on KOF, Indonesia index shows higher level of Vietnam. Vietnam has recorded significant achievements in economic, social, defense, security, and foreign affairs. In the economic field, the country is able to maintain high growth rates over the years. The result is that the lives of Vietnamese people are gradually improving. The average GDP growth reached 7.34% per year and in 2006 until 2010. Due to the world economic crisis, Vietnam still achieved GDP growth to 6.32% per year. Vietnam's GDP growth rate in 2011 until 2015 slowed, but still reached 5.9% per year, a relatively higher rate when compared to growth in other countries in the region and the world. Indonesia ranks 31st on the list of largest investor countries in Vietnam. In order to implement the plan of action for Indonesia-Vietnam strategic partnership, the embassy in Hanoi seeks to enhance the economic cooperation between Indonesia and Vietnam. As in the field of economy, in 2010 until 2014 showed a level similar to Indonesia. Vietnam's economic structure points to modernization, with the percentage of agricultural contribution to the overall economy declining, and the service and industrial production sectors increasing. Vietnam established agricultural production areas, along with industrial processing facilities. For over 3 decades, all sectors of the economy have made great progress. Industry and construction has become greatly to economic growth and technological advances and the development of new industry and high technology. The socio-economic infrastructure has improved significantly, especially in the areas of transportation, electricity, telecommunications, urban areas, education, and health services. Indonesia is a country with high economic potential, the potential that began to be noticed internationally. Infrastructure development is also the main objective of the government and cause effects in the economy. micro, small, and medium enterprises in Indonesia, which together contribute 90% of the total number of active companies in Indonesia, is not less important. This means that micro, small, and medium enterprises are the backbone of the Indonesian economy. In social globalization, Indonesia almost constant. Why? Because Indonesia is a country that is quite open to globalization, especially in the field of social and culture. Although not all people can accept it, but at least Indonesia, including the country that initially closed little by little to be open. While for Vietnam itself experienced an increase and decrease periodically, but for the year 2014, Vietnam experiencing a sharp increase. Of course, many factors that influence the increase. How about the social issues of globalization in Vietnam? Globalization was very necessary for Vietnam in the past. After experiencing war and isolation for many decades, Vietnam desperately needed development. In the field of Indonesian politics gradually increased from year to year, but in 2012 to 2013 is decreased. The development of the political system in Indonesia is a state system that always changes because it is influenced by globalization of the world that brings foreign understanding from one country to another. The situation is aided with acceptance or by deliberately entering into the order of a country to obtain certain goals from the relevant parties involved by a country. While for Vietnam itself experienced an increase and decrease periodically, but for the year 2014, Vietnam experiencing a sharp increase of course. Many factors that influence the increase. The factors almost same with Indonesia actually. There are three of import regulations. The first one is licenses. Firstly, foreign investors want to engage in import or export activities in Vietnam are required to obtain an investment certificate as well as a tax registration certificate from the Department of Planning and Investment. The second one is product registration. In order to import certain products to Vietnam, there are some products that cannot be imported unless they are registered also get approval from the government. The third one is taxes. Most of the goods imported into Vietnam will be taxed. Imported products are subject to import tax and value-added tax 0 until 10%. Depending on the product type, tax rates vary in different ranges. Tariffs and restrictions. Vietnam officially became the 7th member of ASEAN in 1995 and joined the ASEAN Free Trade Area or AFTA in 1996. The heads of ASEAN government increasing the ASEAN's production through the removal of non-tariff barriers and low inter-regional tariffs, range from 0 to 5%. Vietnam, together with the ASEAN countries, has also signed trade agreements with China, the Republic of Korea, Australia and New Zealand, India, Chile, and Japan, and completed negotiating a free trade agreement with the EU in 2016. The Vietnam-EU FTA will take effect from 2018. While the China ASEAN Free Trade Area or CAFTA was established in 2010, under CAFTA, Vietnam is committed to eliminating 90% of its tariff lines for goods traded with China by 2015, with the remaining 10% which cover items on the sensitive list such as textiles. Vietnam also became a World Trade Organization or WTO member in 2007. For its WTO accession, Vietnam was committed to bound tariff rates on most products ranging from 0 to 50%. Among other benefits, WTO accession allows Vietnam to eliminate quotas on textile and clothing for WTO partners in 2005. Vietnam restricted imports include imports subject to import licenses for Ministry of Industry and Trade and are subject to special management and oversight by various ministries and agencies such as the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Information and Communications, the State Bank, and others.